Someone wants me to explain to everyone the basic concept of the Rose Bride in Revolutionary Girl Utena. Oh, that's hard. I'm going to try to do it. Has anyone here seen Utena?
Several episodes.
Okay.
And a whole lot of AMVs.
Yeah, I was gonna say a whole lot of AMVs and then read most of the manga and then.
Okay. So God, I'd want to do it without spoilers because not everyone's seen it. Also, that's hard. The Rose Bride is the prize you get for winning the duels. This is all taking place in this high school academy place, and they have sword fights. Secret sword fights. You have to be part of the dueling. You have to be one of the duelists. You have to have a special ring in order to do this. And the idea is that she becomes betrothed to you, but she is so hard to describe in a way. She represents a certain type of power within the academy by being betrothed to her. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have a higher social standing or anything. Because like the student council is part of this whole dueling thing, but there's a darker reason why she exists, and if I talk about why that is, then it gives away the third arc, which I don't want to do.
When did Utena come out? 20 years ago?
Yeah, like a couple decades.
I think.
I feel like
how about we give a spoiler warning in chat? If you haven't seen Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Yeah.
Cover your ears.
Take your.
But I think the statute of limitations on this one is over.
Okay.
And we can give a warning in chat.
Yeah. The basic idea is that they're trying to find the they're trying. God, I'm going to screw this up. They're trying to find the duelist who can beat everybody, because then they can use that power. The Rose Bride can draw on that power in order to revolutionize the world. Crack the world's shell. And God, I wish I wasn't so sleepy when I watched the last two episodes. It's very you know what? Actually, no, because you asked for basic concept. The fact is that by if Utena wins all the duels against everybody, and she doesn't. She loses a few, and she has to they all have to keep fighting. But once it's proven that she can beat everybody, then Ansi, who's the Rose Bride, and Akio, who's her older brother, they are they're like these weird ageless beings, and they can use Utena's power. They can. I think the idea is to basically take her and lock her up in place of Anshi, so that they don't have to be chained down to what's happening in the whole story, except that ultimately Anshi and Utena fall in love with each other, or at least it seems that way, and that makes it more complicated. Oh, God. I don't want to mix up. So that's kind of it. That's kind of where that is. She's very important because they were persecuted when they were like decades and decades before the show even starts. They're persecuted. I think they ended up getting killed or something, and it's just like, it's a, Omega Lyron says, the whole thing sounds very not straightforward, and it isn't.
It sounds kind of awesome,
It's
actually.
really, yeah. It's Ikuhara who did that. Kind of like just was laying on the metaphors and lots of symbolism in parts of the show, like just so much stuff, and it's worth like multiple rewatches because it's just trying to synthesize it yourself, trying to understand it, and like being like, I need to eat this thing over and over to taste all the flavors. It's like that's really what the anime is like. Yeah, it was real good, but I have now seen it from like start to finish only twice. And I still don't have a good handle on it. And Ian, I think, has seen it like multiple times. I don't know how many more times. He wants to do a podcast about it sometime. And I'm like, I can't be on that podcast. I have nothing to say.
And I've watched it twice.
Yeah, I've seen it twice. You've seen it a few more times, but I have nothing new to add to this. There's been like so much stuff written like on what the show actually means.
I kind of have this sick desire to go back and do a rewatch podcast of Babylon 5.
Oh, yeah.
And then I, like, to get myself primed for it, I go back and start watching season 1 again. And I'm like, Something happened. What is the pacing in the show in the first season? There's a two-parter in the first season where nothing happens for 50 minutes.
I had not seen Babylon 5 in many a year.
It has some great parts, like
remember
absolutely
being
great parts, right? Like Londo and Jakar are awesome characters. And then there are parts that just you're staring at the screen going, end! End!
Your brain's just like getting ready to just go. Just leave. Go. I'm just going to get out of your skull. You can stay here.
Yep.
Boo-doo-boo-boo. I'm just going to move on to that next one, actually. We're still kicking along. We got 30-odd minutes going here. That's good.
But Utena's on YouTube, isn't it? Like, actually legit.
I believe it is.
Like, you can just watch it on YouTube. The publisher, I guess,
Yeah.
has put it up. Or at least it was when I started watching it last year and realized I need to dedicate way more attention to this than I currently have.
Yeah. It's, I thought it was really cool of them to put it up for free, especially when they were like, we're releasing Blu-ray sets and everything, and it's kind of seems antithetical to be like, also it's online in a place you don't even have to pay for a subscription to. But like, I was like, that'll make more people watch it, because like, people talk a lot about like, this is an important something or other, and a lot of times it's like, it's important because it's a part of the zeitgeist. It's something that a lot of people are, like Game of Thrones was something that's like, you don't have to watch Game of Thrones, but you need to be aware that it exists just so that you can kind of participate in like the cultural conversation.
Yeah, or like the MCU movies.
Exactly. Right. It's like you need to know about them and you need to be able to get through that. And Utena is one of those series that when it came out, I don't think was recognized as being, this is something that's going to be part of the cultural conversation. But for North American anime watchers, it sure as hell was, because it was a very big deal and it was a very unusual thing. Much like Evangelion, it was something that nobody had seen before quite like this. And that's fair, because in Japan, Evangelion was something that nobody had, like the vast majority of people had not seen before quite like that. Utena was the same way. These things kind of have this stickiness to them that keep drawing people back to like want to watch more and get a sense of what was going on in them. And that's like any other form of like media, like any other kind of entertainment. There are books that are celebrated because they are, they're like The Handmaid's Tale is considered important literature because it was something that was being done, it was a form of sci-fi that was being done that was unfamiliar. So you end up talking about it, and then everyone ends up talking about it. It's like, even if the story is very old, it's still like, it still means something. So, yeah. That also kind of means to me that like Ikuhara's done a lot of stuff since then, and I don't think any of his stuff has resonated with me in the same way. And for other people, it does, and it has, and they really enjoy it. But everything else that he's done that I've watched have been like, that was interesting, but I kind of have not have the same. It doesn't grab me in the same way it grabs a lot of other people. And so it's like, you can't just be like, well, what's the new important show this season? It's like, that's not. We're not going to know. I really don't think we're going to know what's an important thing in any sort of fandom until much later. You know, like.
Right. Yeah, it's very hard to figure out, like, you don't necessarily get to see what the important, like, landmark pieces of media are while you're immersed in them.
Yeah.
Right.
Seems to me more like, to find out what's important, you look for the ripples
Mm-hmm.
rather than the thing that caused the thing.
What has the biggest impact, but you have to wait for the impact to be visible.